Hello folks, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Welcome to brand new folks, welcome. And for those who are visiting again, thank you so much for your support. Welcome. So today I thought we would just go ahead and channel messages of hope, glory, support, guidance, messages, anything that you need to know right now that's positive, of light and love. And yeah, let's just get to it. So as usual, we have 3 piles. The first pile has this little ladybug on it. And the second pile, and apparently my hair. And the second pile has a little koala. And then we have our butterfly for our third pile here. So as usual, please take your time. And we're going to ground into our essence and energy here. And we're going to pull in and ask our angels and our guides to come in and channel relevant messages of light and love and support and hope. And definitely hope right now. What you need to hear that resonates with you right now. So if you need to go ahead and pause the video and take your time and see which pile resonates with you, go ahead and do that. As always, the timestamps will be printed down below in the comments section, so you can go straight to your pile and find out your messages of love, hope, and support as soon as possible. All right, let's put these aside and get going here. So again, these are timeless messages. So whenever you come across this is the right time for you. Okay, so pile 1. So again, so if you chose the ladybug, this is all for you. I'm going to put the ladybug right by the unicorn. Yay. So these are timeless messages for you to find whenever you find them. And they are messages of love, light, support, and mainly hope, whatever it is that you need to know right now, channeled right from your spirit guides. So let's see your messages, pile 1. Ebb and flow, ocean. Growth, the High Priestess, the Hanged Man, Faith reversed, and Creation. So these are beautiful cards here. So pile 1, the first message that I'm getting from your guides is that you have done a wonderful job of balancing all elements within self. Particularly, I feel like the emotionality and the earth energy. I feel like pile 1, you have been encouraged to distance yourself from, not from your emotions, definitely not distance yourself from your emotions, but I feel like you're very, very sensitive folks. And I feel like sometimes the emotionality can sort of you ride that wave of emotionality, and then it really sort of overtakes you sometimes, and it can sort of draw away from your power sometimes, and make you a little ungrounded. But I feel as though your guides are saying that you've really done a lot of work with understanding that your emotions are valid and they need to be honored, but they don't need to be taken in and taken as seriously as you've been taking them before. And this has sort of transformed your life in a really fantastic way. It's enabled you to grow in ways that you weren't not only able to grow before, but ways that you weren't, or you're able to now connect in ways that you weren't able to connect before, to your understanding of self. I feel as though the way in which you connected to emotionality before really did take away your power and really ungrounded you in a way that it was kind of difficult for you to be in the world in some ways. And I feel as though there was no way for you in the past to express emotion healthily. So you never really learned how to do it. And I feel like sometimes in the past, you know, emotions may have welled up in you and sort of taken you over, and maybe even leaked out, maybe at the right person, but at the wrong time. And it's something that you've been trying to maybe control in the past. But I think that your growth has come from not actually trying to control at all your emotions, but actually accepting them. So I feel as though this is a brand new beginning for you, and your message of hope is that you have come so far with understanding aspects of self that are really integral to understanding, so you can become whole and become the person that you've always wanted to be. Now, of course, let's be clear, everybody is the person that they already are. We're not really growing. What we're doing is we're just shedding what we no longer need to walk into the role of the person that we've always wanted to be. So I feel as though you have really redefined yourself in a way, especially with your emotionality, that has brought you onto a brand new level of security within oneself and grounding within oneself that is really unique to you and absolutely beautiful. Now, what you can do with this is limitless, because what has happened before is that your faith has been tested because you have engaged with your emotionality in a way that it's ungrounded you. So then you lost faith within the universe, and you lost faith a little bit within yourself, because I felt like you know, Pile One, you can be a little bit, you know, you can be very hard on yourself, and then you found yourself being very hard on yourself after treating yourself like that with the emotionality. There may have been some kind of regret, or maybe you were ashamed of your emotions, but all of that has kind of left and or have integrated in a different way, because you've done the work in such an incredible way. So now what we have here, you have your new version of power, which is actually the old version of power, because really what I'm being told is you've always had this understanding of emotion insofar as you've always been sensitive, and your emotionality has actually been your ally your entire life. But because you weren't around people who knew how to express emotions sort of properly, or you weren't encouraged to express them properly when you were younger or as you were growing up, you just learned to sort of not deal with them. And as we've said before, they've come out in different ways, but they were actually your sort of superpower. So now that you're engaging with your emotions in a completely different way, you've gained your superpower, grounded into your power in a brand new way, and you're able to accept your magic in a brand new way. Because when you're overwhelmed with your own emotions, and then you become ungrounded, then you tend to take on other people's energy a little bit more than you need to be, which ungrounds you further, and then takes you further and further and further away from yourself. And this has been a process that has been happening to you, but you actually gave yourself some time. The Hanged Man here, you gave yourself some time to sort of delve into the emotionality in the way that you wanted to delve into it, and figure out on your own terms how you were going to deal with this, and how you were going to reclaim your power from your emotionality. And I would say the first thing for many of you, and I know this is a general reading and this is quite specific, but bear with me. I think the first thing, what I'm being shown is the first thing that you did, Pile One, is that you actually claimed, you really did start seeing your emotionality and being sensitive as something that was really unique in this world. And it really is unique and beautiful. Not that there aren't sensitive people out there, but to the level that you're sensitive is quite unique. I think I've said this in some of, I can't remember which reading and which video now, and I wish I could. If I can, I might link it underneath. But I did talk about different levels of empaths in one of my videos, and I might actually do a video specifically on empaths. And it's not that, you know, one empath is better than the other or anything like that, but there's a unique empath that's really highly sensitive in a way that even other empaths aren't. And this is what you are. So the emotionality that you had really could have felt like an ocean, and really could have felt like it was sort of suffocating you at times. So this way of being in the world, where you have learned to integrate your emotionality and see it and treat it as a superpower, has given you new hope and new understanding and new grounding, and enabled you to create and manifest in a completely different way, because you are you are visualizing completely differently, because you are grounding completely differently, and you are honing in on your power completely differently. Another thing that you weren't able to do before is go with the flow sometimes. I feel like there's a part of your personality that's exceptionally easygoing and loves the idea of spontaneity. But because of your emotions, and because sometimes you were overwhelmed by them, you tended to overthink in certain situations. So it could have been quite difficult for you in some ways to be out in the world and do other things. But this has really shifted for you. And this has really changed for you in the way in which you connect now, and the way in which you ground yourself, the way in which you claim your own power, which in its own way you're not really claiming. You're just there in your own power. Whereas before, I feel as though you maybe had to fight to be seen, or fight to be heard. Not literally, I hope, but in your own way. It didn't come naturally in a situation. Not to say that you couldn't walk into a group of people and people looked up, people noticed you. You got a very strong aura, very strong, powerful influence. But in places and times and a situation where it mattered, people were sort of overthrowing your thoughts and things like that, and not treating you with the respect that you deserved. And that's partly because of the way in which you treated yourself, because you weren't as grounded. So your message of hope is that keep doing what you're doing. It's absolutely amazing. And that you've come this far and you've done so much work, and you've done it on your own terms. Really very much the Hangman, not only in your own terms, you've given yourself the space, but you took the time when everything else was going on around in the world. We're not encouraged to take time here to do the spiritual work, but you did that. You took time out. You took that time to do that whenever you could. You listened to yourself, and it was a very brave thing to do. So your message of support and hope is that you did everything, that you possibly could, and you're about to reap the rewards in a really unique and beautiful way. And the way in which you will grow from now on in is really unique and really beautiful. If you can see these branches here, they're sort of going off in different ways. In some ways I would say, people would say, oh, this tree is, doing its own thing. It's kind of weird, or, is it grounded? But this is you. This is your branch. You're doing things in different ways. You're able to go off in brand new directions now that may not make sense to anybody but you, but now you have the courage to do this. So your message of hope and love is you are brand new, exactly where you needed to be. Please congratulate yourself. This is a huge milestone in your healing, and a new way of you to be your own superpower, which is the High Priestess, which honestly is one of my favorite cards beyond any of the other suits, beyond it's the Major Arcana, of course, but beyond any of the Queen cards. I feel like the High Priestess is the card to beat with personal power and integrating the masculine and the feminine. And this is what you have done with all of your might. And this is absolutely incredible. The last message that I have for you is that now that you've worked with your emotionality and you're working on grounding in a very specific way that's unique to you and a little bit new for you, remember, when you're working, before you go out into the world or the universe and being around other people's energies, remember to shut down your chakras just a little bit. Don't shut them down all the way. But something that's happened to you throughout your healing process and throughout your life is that you've been too open, and you've taken on so much energy out there. And with your own emotionality and being overwhelmed by that, you can become really overwhelmed with other people's emotionality. Now, it's good to be open. You have an open heart. That's wonderful. What your guides are saying is just ask your guides, and you don't have to do it yourself. You can ask your guides to shut down each chakra as much as it needs to be, so you can shield and protect yourself while you're out in the world, but still be open enough to connect and feel one with the universe. So that's the last message that I have for you, a practical guide in order to support specifically what you've been doing. But otherwise to that, Pile 1, you are absolutely wonderful. Again, milestone, well done. Couldn't be prouder of you. So Pile 1, if this resonated with you, do give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if any of this resonated. I love hearing from you guys. personal information for readings in the future for 2020 and beyond. I have several different things that I do, from 3-card readings to 12-card readings and healing packages. They're all down below. Get in touch if you feel you need that or you want that. And until we meet again, thank you, Pile 1. Take care. Bye-bye. Okay, Pile 2, koala. If you pick the koala, that is you. This is you. I am putting this little koala right by the unicorn and our Pile 1 little ladybug. Wow, can't speak today. So just as a reminder, Pile 2, this is a timeless reading. Anytime you come across it, it is time for you to hear these messages. Hopefully they will resonate with you. So we are looking for messages that resonate right now, messages of hope, support, and love, what you need to hear right now. So let's get right on. Oh, earth fairies, or earth magic, sorry. Earth magic, fairies. Patience. We have the King of Pentacles reversed. We have the Four of Wands reversed. We have integrity reversed. And we have service. So the first message that I'm getting, Pile 2, is, I'm going to move this over here because there's a little bit of a glare. The first message that I'm getting is that any doubt that you have that you're a good person, and from an objective standpoint, and I'm also coming in from the objectivity of your guides, because they're saying this is absolutely ridiculous. They're saying that they know sometimes you don't feel connected to the world and you don't feel like you are sort of, for want of a better way of putting it, a human being. You don't resonate with earth beings or anything like that. But that doesn't mean to say that you cause yourself that somehow that you're not doing your best, or you're not where you should be. And you doubt yourself, and you doubt your power, or you doubt that you've done enough, or that you're doing enough. So the first message of support, Pile 2, is that you're more than doing enough. As Pile 1, being hard on yourself does not do any good, and we know this. But also for you, you have a different, delicate, beautiful way of being in the world. You do have earth magic, and you do have fairy energy. You have elemental energy. So some of you might be air signs, actually, even though it's earth magic. I feel like some of you might have earth signs, or even like something like Sagittarius or Gemini. You might have that fiery get up and go, but you also have that earth sign. You also, Freudian slip, perhaps you are an earth sign too, but you also have that air sign. So you might have that pragmatic side to yourself, but the way in which you do things can be really airy and heady and very much in your head, and this is how we're doing things, and that's great, and that's the way that you work, and you should have patience with your process for sure. But if you're seeing people go about their lives what you would consider a little bit more pragmatically, coming back with some more tangible results than you see that you're coming back with, please do not fear that. You are working on a timeless schedule. Time is man-made. You're working within a timeless schedule. We just shifted from the 3D to the 5D. We're in timelessness now. And actually, a lot of people are reporting that they feel as though time is going exceptionally quickly. And I feel like the first part of 2020 will happen that too. Now, of course, time isn't actually going any quicker or faster in the actual sense of it. But it feels that way because we've headed into a timelessness. So the idea of working within a time constraint and wondering if you're doing things right is just putting a lot more pressure on yourself. I have a certain amount of time to get this done, maybe my age, maybe this, that, and the other. I'm not seeing the results. What do I do? And then you get hard on yourself. No, absolutely. So what they're asking you to do, and your message of hope and your message of support, is first of all, definitely give yourself some patience. But beyond patience, give yourself some space. I'm being told, Pile 2, that you've actually done a huge amount of work. And what you're not patient in, Pile 2, which is, naughty, is you're not used to giving yourself the space to see all of this come back, to see all of the everything that you put out there come back and come into fruition. I feel as though you put something out into the world, and then you expect results sometimes quite quickly, or the other thing that you do sometimes, and again, this is a general reading, so take what you will. The other thing that you do that's elements or seeds that you've sown previously, you expect them to come back in very specific ways, or you're waiting for, the quote unquote, the big whoopee, coming back and seeing everything change and everything move in this absolutely huge kind of shift. And really, if you look back, you're being asked to look back onto your lives and see the small miracles. If you add those up, you will see exactly what you did. You will see that you helped all of this come to fruition, and you've been putting out all of your energy with all of your might this entire time, and you've been supported this entire time. And if you see it that way, you'll be able to say, oh my goodness, I did do that, and that did happen. Almost like they're going through, I can see like a list of everything that you've done, and they're telling you, do you remember this? Do you remember this? And you go, oh yes, you just need to be reminded of all of those things. All of those little things add up to something huge. I do feel like there is a massive shift and change for you coming, pile 2. So just hold on there. Again, this has happened several times. This has been a general theme for 2019. People have asked for, really big things and put out their energy. And they're wondering if they'll get it. You deserve everything, and the bigger stuff is coming. But in the interim, please do look at the smaller stuff and give yourself a little bit of a break, and know that you've been doing all of this work, and you've given yourself some space to do this. I feel as though with this 4 of Wands, I'm going to turn this right side up. Because actually what you do is the process of being hard on yourself. If you can see, all of this goes up to the sun. Now this is reversed. When you're hard on yourself, you can't see the sun, you can't see the beauty, you can't see the light. And that's what you've done. And then it also disempowers you a little bit from your own sense of source and your own sense of intuition. So the King of Pentacles here, I feel as though for many of you, there's been some financial worries, and also, to be more specific, there's been, job placements where you want to do something that's more in line with your service, and what it is that your path and what it is that you want to do in this lifetime. And if any of you have asked if that is possible, that is absolutely possible. And again, even if you don't see it now, like even if it's not tangible insofar as like, okay, how am I going to pay my rent next month? Because, my new business venture or whatever it is that I think I'm going to do isn't pulling in the money yet. You're being told to let go and do it anyway. So again, don't expect like $1 million on the first month. But if you put your energy into service and doing everything with an open heart and not worry about the money, just know that you'll be taken care of. Your bills and everything will be taken care of in ways if you just let go in unexpected ways until your income can become more stable. So for those of you who have asked specifically, and I'm being told there are a lot of people out there who really want to follow a certain path and are ready to do it, but are worried because maybe they're leaving a job that they're not happy with, but at least it has money. Absolutely do what you need to do. And again, listen to your intuition. I'm not telling anybody to, just walk right out tomorrow without a plan, but absolutely follow your intuition with whatever it is that you want to do. Follow that. There is a great milestone coming in for you. And if you follow that with your heart, remember everything with your intuition must resonate with you. If you put an idea out there and it feels absolutely great, then keep going and keep moving. Now, sometimes with a practical mind, you can feel good about something because pile 2, you're pretty open to everything and you can try everything on and feel good about everything. Now, that's the type of person that you are, but it doesn't mean that everything's good for you. So even if you're thinking, all right, I could do this, it feels good for now, and you try it on, it feels good, check back in 24 hours later. If that same idea is not sitting with you anymore because your heart's saying you could do it, but it's really not on your path, then disregard it. Disregard it. You don't need to do anything with it. Take your time, have patience. Everything that you should be doing step by step should sit with your heart and should have an open heart and should absolutely resonate with you. So follow those little steps. Follow those stepping stones in securing your own financial future on your own terms. Stop being hard on yourself. Remember, the light is right there. Timelessness. You're doing things on your own terms. And if you do not feel completely connected to, the idea of society per se, you do have elemental energy. You're just going to do things uniquely and on your own terms. And do not dare, your message of hope and support, do not dare ever doubt the fact that you don't have integrity or you didn't do enough in that situation. You did exactly what you needed to do. Your mantra, pile 2, is the past is the past. I cannot change it. So, I feel like some of you are going back and reliving some of the conversations or some of the arguments or some of the things that you could have done or said. Let it go. It's all over. Let those stories go, reintegrate all of the wisdom that you've pulled from that and just let it go. Brand new beginnings, back into the light, moving into your own realm on your own terms and earning money on your own terms, which will be really beautiful. And give yourself the space and the patience to do that. Remember, small miracles. There are much bigger things coming for you in a really, really good way. Trust me, the payoff for this is going to be massive. But in the interim, please do not judge yourself by these big payoffs. Go back in gratitude and see how far you've come. And remember, you've come so far with these little things that you've achieved. That's what you're supposed to be doing. All right, pile 2? So well done. I'm really excited for your new venture, whatever it is. Do give me a thumbs up if this resonated and let me know what your venture is in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys, so feel free to let me know in the comments if this resonated. And I have all of my details for different healing packages and all different kinds of readings that I have, from basic 3-card readings to much more in depth. So if you feel like you want a little bit more guidance, I'm right here for you. All right, pile 2, until we meet again. Bye-bye. Okay, pile 3, this is all for you. Definitely last, but definitely not least. So the butterfly is yours, is you. I'm going to put it right next to the unicorn and the koala and our little ladybug here. So again, this is a timeless message. Whenever you find this message, this is all for you. We're looking for a message that resonates right now about truth, light, support, and hope for you. This is what you need to know right now. Passion, fire, the unexpected, the fool. Love this. The star. This is beautiful. History and communication. These are beautiful cards, pile 3. All right, I can already see. First of all, pile 3, you're exactly where you need to be. These are absolutely beautiful. If there was any doubt whatsoever, or I feel as though, even if you feel as though you're sort of in this divine kind of like manifesting, but you come out of it sometimes and there's a little bit of doubt and then you come back into like, I can do anything I want. Never doubt it. Just go right back into it. Your history has definitely taught you that the way in which you communicate with yourself has been harsh. And this has been a theme between pile 1, 2, and then now 3. But you have recently integrated sort of source energy in a really profound way in who you are and manifesting what you want. Now, some of you have just gotten to the point where you're like, I'm doing this. Gold. I'm going for gold because I only have one life. And that's absolutely beautiful. And you've given yourself the space to get to this point because you've just overcome some really integral things in your life that really needed to happen in order to become this person, to move into this brand new space. So I feel as though this doesn't happen for everybody, but for people who have picked pile 3, I feel as though there's sections of your life where you've had childhood and you had certain things that you needed to go through. And I feel as though this is a brand new spectrum of completely different and completely unexpected and completely unknown. And yet, as a paradox, you've always known this aspect of self. You've almost been waiting your entire life to get to this aspect of self that's unexpected and yet completely known, which is kind of strange to... So I hope this resonates and I hope this is clear. The star for me is one of those wish cards insofar as it tells me that you are an extremely old soul. You are definitely here on this earth to do something huge and to send on or to support the 5D in this lifetime. And everything that you've done has done to support that. You may have not felt that way because what you had to do, pile 3, is sludge through that 3D. I mean, you have gone through so much of that 3D energy, not only for yourself, but through the world. You've taken on so much of the world's energy and so much of the community and the communal kind of energy throughout this lifetime, that I think sometimes that whatever it is that you wanted to be, this beacon of light, you feel as though you've come away from not being the lighthouse. Or if you were the lighthouse, you were, the light was on sometimes, but you really felt the isolation of being, the lighthouse, because you've taken so much on, because there was so much 3D energy around you that you had to go through, almost like quicksand. It felt like you were going under, coming back up, but you went through that and you did it. So this is a wonderful time of life. Now, you've always had passion. You've always had fire energy. You could actually be a fire sign, but I would say most of you just have a lot of fire energy. And I feel as though, for some of you too, this is a general reading, but for some of you, you may even have dragon energy, and resonate with sort of dragon energy and dragon oracle cards. If you have them, pull them out. I feel like that would be excellent energy for you. But you may not have been able to connect with your passion totally. And if you did it sort of, how do I say it? You did it on the outskirts of society. It wasn't integrated fully into society. You may have done it for yourself, or if you did a creative project, it's sitting in your studio, it's not quite out there yet. Or if it is, it's not quite where you wanted it to be. Creating and supporting people on the level that it will be. And that's because, again, you were in the 3D energy working through all of that. And it's not that the 3D energy with the passion was pulling you down, because you were very passionate about your work. And whatever you were doing, I feel like there's a lot of creative energy. It could be writing, it could be photographing, all sorts of different things. There's a whole slew of things that you can be and that you are. And I feel as though that passion's always been there. And I feel as though that has been your source power that's kept you alive all of this time. But now what you're supposed to be doing is putting that energy and integrating it onto the world. And you are going to do that, communicate in a brand new way. So your message of light and hope is that your world that you've actually signed up for, pile 3, is coming. It's already here. You just have to pull it in. The Fool is brand new beginnings. I mean, brand new beginnings in a way unexpected that you could not even presume. Even as we said before, some of it will feel familiar because you know what you've asked for. When it actually comes to you, the joy will be absolutely immense. This is a brand new time for you, a brand new stage in which you can actually reach and communicate people in a brand new way with light. Now, the other thing that I will say to you that I'm being told is that the passion and the light that you've always had around your creativity has always been there and has always been like absolutely pronounced. But there was always a little bit of fear because you have a unique voice that when you get out there, perhaps, will you be accepted? And that's because, you were still wading through the 3D, even though I feel as though some of the conversations or some of your creativity was coming very much from the 5D or coming from otherworldly kind of sources. The way in which you thought you would be perceived, perhaps, would be, through the 3D senses. And that may have held you back from putting yourself out there a little bit. Now that we've just shifted from 3D to 5D, the world has changed. It shifted. Not for everyone, because some people are conditioned to stay in the 3D, but it has for you and it has for everyone around you. So now it is time to get all of your stuff out there, and whatever you thought may have happened before, like the way in which you may have been treated, or the way in which you may have been treated, or seen before, may have been filtered through the 3D, will no longer exist. So your stuff is of love and light, and it's coming from the 5D. Even if you write about 3D justice, whatever it is that we're talking about in a very 3D sort of sense of realm, to support the 3D going into the 5D, your work will still be fused with the 5D now that we've worked into it. Now that the universe has shifted. So now your work and your creativity and you yourself are going to be seen and be able to integrate in a brand new light. So your light and hope is that everything that you have done is time for, and I don't really like this, but I am being told to say it, the payoff. Because for obvious reasons, this idea of a payoff means that in some ways, you've accepted something, you've done something, you've been rewarded for it. In some ways it's over. A little bit of a glare, so let's put this here. But for you, this is completely different, because in many ways, and here is the paradox, in many ways, whatever is about to come for you, which is going to be amazing. So maybe come for you is not the right. Whatever is going to be drawn to you, which is everything that you've ever wanted, seems like, oh my God, I've got this now. But at the same time, it's a brand new beginning. It's just the beginning of what you're supposed to do. So it's kind of a beautiful time for you. And this is definitely... the card, the star, is definitely letting me know that this should resonate with everything that you have been on this earth to do. Now, remember, you have a soul contract with yourself. You told yourself what you wanted to do. You came back here to do it. You knew you had the wisdom to do it. You had to wade through that 3D, and that was not easy. So put yourself a big pat on the back there, or celebrate with a glass of wine or a cup of tea or whatever it is that you do. This was not easy. So this is the end of something, the beginning of something new, and the payoff will be in there too. Again, your work will be out there communicating in a way that will help support and bring hope and light to the 5D world, and influence the 3D in a way that needs to be influenced too. You are here with the light of truth. I keep seeing this idea of a lighthouse that you've always had, again, with the light going on and off, but also been segregated from the rest of the world because it's been a lonely task. That's another thing that I'm being told for support and for hope and for light for you. It's almost like the lighthouse is now moving off and into the ocean and going wherever it needs to be. So there's an integration of process here, that everything that you've done thus far, you've kind of done on your own or in small circles of friends, not necessarily in secret, but definitely protected behind doors. And that's all changing for you. So that passion that you've always had will be shared in a brand new way and integrated in a brand new way into this world. So your message of love and hope is that it's here. Enjoy. I mean, this manifestation has been going on, I'd say, for some of you, 30 or 40 years, depending on how long you've been on this earth. But it's definitely, and again, not coming for you, coming at you. It's coming to pick you up, shall we say. And you deserve this with all of your history and everything that you've been through. And I just love this brand new beginning, the Fool and the Star with this hope. And this is not a brand new hope. This is a hope that you came in with, to be able to be that beacon of light and hope. But again, to be able to do this integrated fully and fully supported in this lifetime with other light beings. You're about to go into that. I think you've had a section of that, or the beginning of the taste of it. You're about to experience this in a really unique and absolutely positive and beautiful way. So well done, pile 3. Couldn't be happier for you, and couldn't have happened to anyone nicer or more beautiful. So if this resonated with you, please do give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below. Also available for other readings too, from 3-card readings onto healing packages and all sorts of other things. So do let me know if you need any extra guidance. All the information to get in touch with me is below. And thank you for being here today. Always an honor to read for you. And I'm glad that you found this message when you needed it. So until we meet again, love and light and blessings. Bye-bye.